This podcast is brought to you by Australia's LGBTQIA+ community media organisation, Joy. Keep Joy on air by becoming a member, a subscriber, or donate. Head to joy.org.au. Joy, a diverse sound for a diverse community.
Welcome to Still Here, Still Queer, your weekly guide to ageing disgracefully,
where we celebrate voices, lives, and the fabulousness of older LGBTQIA+ folk.
We're here to challenge ageism and bring generations together, from baby dykes to silver foxes.
We'll be serving up interviews, music, memories and tips on how to keep living our best lives.
And fielding questions and advice from you on our weekly topics.
Today we'll be talking health and fitness, so pull on your leg warmers for
Still Here, Still Queer. Okay, now what have I got? I've got to turn this off. Hang on. There.
Hello,
There we go.
done.
Now, we had a message during the week.
This is actually the first email ever received into the Still Here, Still Queer mailbox. And it's come from Alan. He said, thanks for the new show. I'm an early riser for Jim and usually tune into Joy, so I'm excited to listen into your discussions. I came out at 50 12 years back. I've developed wonderful rainbow friends and community in Melbourne, participating in queer sports clubs and social events, and definitely still at dance parties.
Good on you, Alan.
Yeah, good on you. Better than I am. I'm in bed by 9, so...
Well, we can have earlier dance parties. I don't think it's a problem, is it?
No.
We can have them whenever we want.
We can.
What are we talking about today, guys?
That's the late day ones, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
Afternoon's a good time.
Now, today's a big topic because we're talking about health and fitness as we age. And we have some wonderful guests.
We do.
We have Dr. George Forgan-Smith, who's a GP, and we'll talk to him in a few minutes. And we have Trevor Block,
Yes.
who's a personal trainer,
I'll
also
say.
coming in.
Very personal.
And we're going to talk to him about exercise as
As
an
grow
aging
older.
person. Yeah.
I think why it's, yes, with anybody getting a bit older, it's obviously important to talk about health and fitness. But I think amongst our community, there are a few other concerns that maybe make us a bit more susceptible. I mean, some of us have been doing it pretty hard for different reasons. Because of isolation, there are a lot of alcohol and drugs often in our background because that's how we've coped with not being accepted.
And that's a big part of the scene too, particularly the clubbing, going out, young person scene.
Yes.
Well, what the young folk do.
Well, I've heard some stories about you, Henry.
Well, there are some stories going around about me, and I can tell you that most of them are true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, a lot of people, when they come out, they go through a second teenage era of going out and using things. They might be 40 or 50 and they want to go onto the scene to see what it's like, etc. So that happens too.
Yeah, but also just the mental health and the stress that, be honest, we've suffered because of the isolation or the prejudice, particularly, I guess, from our era, where, coming out was a horribly stressful thing, or just even copping abuse. So I think we need to take care of ourselves even more as we go older. And, of course, there's the folks living with HIV long term.
Yes, and people who might have thought at some stage they would not get to live this long.
Well...
and...
I'm putting my hand up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Live fast, die young, that sort of thing. I'll sleep while I'm dead, all of that thing.
Yeah.
And then you're going, oh, Lord.
Yeah, I
know.
thought that when I was 40 too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, 70, no.
Yeah. And how we can maintain ourselves so that we can still do some of those fun things. Let's say, we're not saying no to the disco.
No.
But how do we stay healthy enough to still get there?
70s disco music is all the rage these days. So.
As it should be.
I think we'll introduce our first guest, shall we?
Okay, well, our first guest is GP Dr. George Forgan-Smith, Melbourne-based, a general practitioner with specialised expert in sexual health, gay men's health, HIV care and prevention, kink as well, and men's mental...
No, hang on. You can't just say kink like that.
and brush it over like we're supposed to ignore
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
Men's mental health and physical wellness. And to top all that off,
What?
George is an expert knitter.
I beg your pardon?
Knitter.
Oh, you're
As
an
a
expert
hobby.
knitter.
It's true. Like Sunday afternoons, here we are. Like if you're not at Wet, if you're not at the Laird, Then apparently you're at Joy. And I didn't bring my knitting. I have been knitting on a project for the last 3 weeks continuously, so I should have brought it in. Sorry, I didn't.
But show and tell would have been nice. What is it?
It's all colours. It's actually an eye. It's a famous pattern by Stephen West of West Knits, but it's actually just a big eye.
Can you wear this eye, or is it, to go on the wall?
You can wear it as a shawl. You could make a little hat out of it. But my plan is to hang it on the wall of my office. Conversation topics.
Now that's kink.
Tell us a bit more about yourself and your interests as a medical practitioner, and then we'll get on to some more specific questions.
So I did my training in Queensland, and I actually did my GP training in Byron Bay, but between then and there was a whole chunk of psychiatry that I did, which was some of the most enjoyable medicine I've done, actually. But GP's been really, really good because it's enabled me to engage with groups of people. Now, you may or may not be aware that there was a thing called the whole HIV/AIDS crisis. We lost generations of educators. And I quickly learned that there were people who were just making stuff up. So I thought, you know what? It's my job to fill that void. I don't mean I'm going to do it exclusively, but I think it's important to have a medical perspective when it comes to things like kink, fetish, sexual health, and to be able to invite people into my space and be able to say, well, look, here's how to do it in a way that's not going to cause you harm, so you can have lots and lots of fun.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Have fun and be safe doing it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And longevity and to be able to keep on having fun, I think, is the key for me. So, I've teamed up with amazing people like Eagle Leather. Like I teach with BJ when he's teaching impact play, bondage, stuff like that. He's even been so kind as to invite me. I'm doing my very first Ask class here in Melbourne coming up at a week of leather. So if you've had questions about little rings and buttholes, I could be your guy.
There's a whole other topic in that.
Well, I've had my eyes opened.
You're going to have to get me back.
We definitely will. And it's an interesting topic about aging and sexuality as well, because as we get older, we sort of think our sexuality will wane and it'll go away, but it doesn't really.
It's true. And there's all of these interesting data. There was a study in Sydney called the SPANK study where we looked at sexual activity of people right through their ages. And they were looking for anal cancer, which is the bugbear of gay men or men who have both insertive and receptive anal sex.
Yeah.
But what we found was that people were enjoying anal sex well into their 70s and that there was all of this protection that we could be offering people to be able to say, look, here's how to keep on having great sex and to avoid some of the nasties that can happen. And we're not just talking chlamydia, HIV, we're actually talking about anal cancers and things like that. So big passion of mine is helping guys stay healthy well into their 70s.
Wow.
What are the things, as you're getting old, that you need to look at as a queer person?
I think the most important thing you need as a aging population is a good GP. You've got to have somebody who knows you, right? Because I know my patients inside and out, and I know when they're not well. I have a small handful of 80-year-olds that come in, and they generally check in once a month, and they just come in and have a bit of a yarn. I'm totally cool with that, but there have been times when they've come in and I'm like, you are not well. I've got to get on top of this.
They've not realised.
No, they've just been sort of...
It's like the frog in hot water, getting a bit worse and not realising it, but you take one look at them.
They've gone off their food and they're just looking slow and sullen. And, you have a quick listen and a quick check and like, dude, you're not going directly home. We're going to get you a bit of a peck up here. But it's important. As young gay guys, we get taught, they just turn up for their prep or all of that. And it's one of those, any doctors can do it. But any doctor can't do the holistic health, the heart health, the brain health, the kidney health, the stuff that we're seeing now, because I apologize if I keep on harping on about men, because I am one and I care for a lot of them, but I look after women as well. I do believe that there's a population of people that we never expected to be around. We weren't expecting to have amazing HIV treatments. In my younger ages, I was sort of on a pathway to think that I'm going to acquire HIV. So am I going to live to my 50s and my 70s? The fact that I'm actually alive is incredible. I can remember filling a car with gas while smoking. So, like, I don't know which is worse, using the gas
Forget the
or
risky
smoking.
sexual behaviour.
No, just sheer stupidity. Honestly,
Yes.
it's my blatant autism or something. It's one of those. But you know, I don't think they had autism when I was 20.
That's right.
Couldn't have red cordial.
Okay, so what about some of your women clients?
Yes.
There's some the
Well,
same and some not.
One of the things we've got perimenopausal symptoms, postmenopausal symptoms. Those eggs don't last. They've got a certain shelf life, and once they've gone off the shelf, then we can deal with those sort of symptoms. But I think equally as important for men and for women is bone health, to really keep up those strong bones. And I'm a big believer in functional fitness, and I'm so happy that you've paired me with a physical fitness person, because I just think it is so important to keep moving. And don't just go to the gym. Go to the gym with a purpose. Like, I'm going to the gym because I want to be able to walk Mount Kilimanjaro or something like that. I just came back from a hike up a very tall hill, and I was buggered about a quarter of the way up. I was doubting some very serious life choices, but I made it. But I really think that bone health is super, super important. And that's lifting weights, eating calcium-rich foods, making sure you're getting your vitamin D. And the other thing is that your GP can be checking these things and making sure, have you had your bone density checked? Guys,
I've been sitting with my little bone density check to go and get an appointment in the door of my car for a rather long time. I'm not actually going to get anything. I've got to go somewhere and do it, haven't
just
I?
get it done, because there are amazing treatments for
Takes
bone
10
density. Yeah, it's
All
super
right.
quick.
This is
All
great.
right.
This is kicking my ring.
We've got Dr. George Forgan-Smith, a Melbourne-based GP here, talking with us about health issues for over 60s.
We've done the physical.
We have. And we were talking about some of the difficult issues. So maybe
I
you
think
can continue on
isolation,
with that.
isolation and disconnection from community, I think, is something that we really have to acknowledge. And this is where the knitting comes in, right? So I have a gang of people that I knit with, and I don't necessarily want to shack up with all of the people. One or two, sure. But we all have a mutual activity that we attend to together. And I think as people might get a bit of a sore hip or a sore wrist or whatever, they drop out. And I think it's important to continue having a group of mates that you hang out with, and that gives you that sense of community and connection. So I would encourage people for their mental health. And the thing is that once you've got a group of people and somebody does start dropping out, then you go, hey, what's wrong with Frank, or what's wrong with Julie? Is there a reason? Let's check in on them and make sure that they're okay. And I think that that's important, because in the gay community, we may not have family. Either they are passed on or they've passed us on. So I think it's important that we make our own family.
And that concept of chosen family is really important. I know I have a chosen family.
Yeah. And that,
As
again,
well
I
as my
think
other family.
it would happen in the mainstream, but would be more common within our community, because, some of us, our families may have either disowned us or, there's some distance there. What about, I've been hearing that pickleball is one of those good
gosh.
community.
I think so. I think pickleball injuries are going to be up there with netball injuries. There is
Oh,
a
is it that?
pickleball. I'm in Clifton Hill, and there's this crazy pickleball craze going through Clifton Hill. Must be all the C's and the P's. But all I hear is plink plonk, plink plonk, plink plonk, and I'm just like, I'm sure it's good, but my knees would not be up for it. I'd be kind of like a pensioner version of.
Well,
pickleball.
I thought that's
There
what
must
it
be one.
was. I thought what I've been hearing from some people who are older people playing pickleball, that it is more designed for us. It's not squash.
I
Oh,
don't
thank
know whether
God.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure whether I trust my hips with pickleball, but
Listeners.
I can't do many things. Like the fact that I don't injure myself knitting is amazing. So there's that.
You mentioned another one as well, another issue.
Are there vaccines that you should be considering
Yeah,
about?
vaccines, I
I'm
think was the
very,
one, yeah.
I'm very pro-vaccine. I love a good jabbing.
Well, we heard about that earlier, didn't we?
Absolutely. But there are important vaccines to consider, like shingles vaccine. If you've had chickenpox, you can be exposed to shingles, which is just awful and can be very, very debilitating.
That's easy for you to say.
But also pneumovax, flu vaxes, COVID vax. Like the amount of people, COVID, why are you still harping on about COVID? It's because I still have people come to my rooms with bloody COVID. And it's like,
Yeah, there's a lot of it
Good
around.
people.
People
Yes.
who go overseas, they come back on the plane.
Oh,
I know
no.
2 people came back with it.
I know
Yeah.
that, and chlamydia. So there you go.
Well, I have to
Swab it.
say, I just got bitten by a koala the other day, so I could
They
be
are.
carrying it right now.
They are grumpy little buggers, those koalas, not to be trusted. And like if you're going to Africa or South America, you might want to have a chat to your doc about what vaccine should I get, because they're different. Like you might want to consider yellow fever, or you might want to consider typhoid or something like that. Like I know occasionally a gentleman might go to Thailand for a little bit of R&R, and it wouldn't hurt to have a typhoid shot and have a chat about PrEP.
Very good
Have a great time.
advice.
Monkeypox, maybe?
Well said.
Well,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. I saw a lot of monkeys.
So you
Not all of them
have
were
just
poxies,
been
but-
to Africa, speaking of, haven't you? What were you doing there?
Oh, well, I went on a couple of safaris, walked up a very tall hill, but I was attending the IAS, the International AIDS Society Conference, which was really very exciting this year. It's a smaller conference, first time that it's been held in Africa. So that was really cool. Yeah.
HIV is so prevalent there. You'd think it would have been held there before. But
And see, it's a different group there as well. Like HIV is amongst women of reproductive age and perhaps even younger than that. So some of the findings from the conference were very exciting, and that's long-term prevention strategies. So we're looking at 6-month injections that you can give to a person and they won't be able to be infected with HIV. That could change the world. Absolutely. Will it be accepted in Australia? Probably not. We have tablets that work fine and they're bloody expensive, but the companies are working out deals where they can do generics of these injections in countries where they would be highly valued. Monthly PrEP is another option as well. If you struggle to take your tablets, then 1 tablet a month is another option as well.
okay.
All sorts of exciting stuff. Melbourne is the hub of exciting. Professor Sharon Lewin is the queen of HIV worldwide, but her team here in Melbourne are creating so much interesting information as well. So it was really great to listen to what all the smart people are doing. They call it basic science, but there is nothing basic about the way that they're talking about adding genes in and doing all of this sort of stuff. But we are getting closer and closer and closer to a cure for HIV.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
That's fantastic.
That's good news.
Well, thank you for your amazing info. Please stick around, George.
Coming up, I think we'll go to the next song.
I think we
And
are.
then we've got our next guest.
We have Trevor Block, PT
Extraordinaire.
We'll keep our powder dry on you, Trev.
Still here, still queer. We'll tell you what to do.
And I'm telling you what to do right now. If you want to ask a question of either of our guests, you can text us in on 0427 Joy 949 or 0427 569 949 or email on air at joy.org.au.
And you can always just send us a message and tell us how fabulous we are. We won't knock that back.
Do it now.
We know it, but if you
Yeah,
know it, that's
yeah.
even better.
Oh, when you two are finished, honestly. Well, we want to hear from you because it should be a discussion. If you've got questions or maybe you've got a great bit of advice health-wise.
Yes,
For what keeps
absolutely.
us long and limber. I'll tell you who will have some, which is Trevor Block.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to you. I like to say my personal trainer because it makes you feel like you've got staff, doesn't it? Team Gillian, one of
does.
which is Trevor.
She certainly seems to think that way when she comes into a training session.
There you go. Sorry, Trevor.
So who's training who, Trevor? That's what I...
Well, sometimes I don't know.
One of the reasons, though, I chose Trevor was because of the remedial side. You know, you're not just there to make us all buff, though hopefully that's part of it. It was also about the functional side of just getting on with life. And I know that you also do have quite a few older clients, don't you, that really your job is to keep them functional.
Absolutely. My oldest client right now, she's just about to turn 91.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
And she's been with me for many years. She's a mother of a friend of mine. And she's been going strong. She's losing her sight, but she's as agile and spry as anyone could be 20 or 30 years her junior.
Well, if that is not an ad for Trevor, I don't know what is.
I want some more. I want some of that.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your premier focus obviously it's tailored to the person.
Yes.
But if you want to say, you're getting a bit older, what do we need to think about in terms of exercise, do you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, exercise is a big part of what I like to call, and many people call, health span rather than lifespan. We focus on longevity, but it's about being healthy all the way up until the end, if one can.
Yeah.
And exercise and fitness is one of those great ways to do it. As George already touched on, strength is so important as we get older. The muscles start to degrade. We go through a phase called sarcopenia, which is just muscle loss from the age of 30, really. And it mildly starts at that point and then really kicks in when we get into our 60s. So from a strength training
Rip that
point
Band-Aid on,
yes,
Trevor.
I know.
Now we know that. What can we do?
I know. Well, look, the whole premise behind doing strength training is to build muscle. Muscle tissue is the most metabolically active tissue we have in the body. It's responsible for so many different processes, but it keeps us upright, keeps us being able to move, helps us with balance. Things like going to the gym is a wonderful arena to experience the love of strength training. But if that's not for you and you find that an intimidating space, you could do a couple of things. One, you could get a personal trainer like me to help you through the process.
You have to, because I could so easily be doing the wrong thing. Just because you're working out in the gym does not necessarily mean you're doing it right, okay?
Yes, and I've seen some catastrophic things happen in the gym where people just have no idea, unfortunately.
All you've got to do is to grab the barbells the wrong way or pull on something and you can do all sorts of damage. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. But you can also do things at home. So you can use weights at home. You can carry shopping bags up and down your hallway to help balance. They call that a farmer's walk.
Do they?
A farmer's walk, yes. Getting up and down off a chair.
Actually, if you did that like 10 times in succession, that's got to be doing something.
And the lower the chair, the better.
I was going to ask you about balance too. Is that a
Yes.
really important thing for
Massively.
people as they get older?
Massively. So, one of the things we all feel like is an inevitability is the risk of falls as we get older.
Well, that's it. We go from falling down to having falls. I'm not sure what age that kicks in.
Yeah, I've caught a couple of my clients with that kind of language, and they said, I had a fall last week. And I'm going, well, that sounded like quite an event, and you're only 55. So let's just say you fell over.
Yes. Let's start a movement that we actually no longer have falls. We're only going to fall over from now on. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I had the chance to listen to your wonderful show last week. And you touched on something, Gillian, which I found really, it's part of my ethos, is that we have this ageist idea, not just of others, but of ourselves. And we create this narrative that once we get older, we can't do. I see this all the time, the difference between clients who, I've got this 75-year-old lady who has got the early onset of Parkinson's. She's a get-up-and-go lady. She's doing Pilates. She's active. She has a zest for life. She doesn't believe in the aging process. She just gets on with it. Whereas there are others who, first thing in the morning, their first words uttered are, getting old sucks.
Yes.
And yes, there is part of that, but there are plenty of things we can do to help mitigate that.
So attitude is huge. That would surely be the case, George, in any kind of health, surely. The whole placebo effect type thing. If you think you're healthy, do you think it can help us?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you need demonstrable proof as well. So the getting up from a chair is an actual test that we do. It's called the get up and go test. How quickly can you get up, walk 10 paces? If you can do that, then we know that you're in good health.
Wow. Okay.
Me, I'm in my 50th year this year. Not being afraid of the floor. I find that a lot of fall fear as we get older is the fear of not being able to get up again.
Right.
And so, if you're in the have the opportunity to get up and down off the floor a few times during the day,
Serious?
whether it be playing with your kids or grandkids or
dog.
Absolutely, that is definitely going to help with your confidence.
Yeah.
From a balance perspective, it's not just static balance we need to think about, it's also dynamic balance. So it's not just our ability to stand on one leg and sing our favourite tune, as I'm sure you have done, Gillian, when I've given you standing one-legged exercises.
I've not got the best balance. I never have done. But instead of, that song, you got to get up to get down, you've actually got to get down to get up. Is what
You've got some good dance moves, though, I hear. So,
thank you.
And you can challenge yourself absolutely with your friends or just yourself in terms of a dynamic balance exercise would be walking heel to toe in a line, for example, like a tightrope walk. See if you can walk.
Sobriety test.
See, it is absolutely, and it is a way of also helping you with your dynamic balance. Not only walking forwards, but walking backwards, walking sideways, crossing your feet over.
This is getting complicated.
Yeah,
isn't
all
it?
these sorts of
I
things.
hope
all
everyone's
these
taking notes.
Yes.
All these different combinations can help with your dynamic balance.
Well, thank you. I feel another song coming on. You?
Before we go to the song, we've got
Oh.
a message has just come in from Tim and Oscar, who have said, great show tonight with some really interesting guests. There you go. Look, there you go. There's a bit of an ego stroke for you. Looking forward to hearing more from them and yourselves throughout the series. Cheers, Tim and Oscar. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Or
Tim and Oscar.
Tim and Oscar.
I
yeah.
thought they were two schnauzers, but if they're writing
They
emails,
could be
good on you.
two schnauzers.
I actually know that
All
one's
right.
a
Let's have the
poodle.
Pointer Sisters.
You're on Still Here, Still Queer on Joy 94.9.
We've been talking to George. Hello, George.
Hello, that's me.
Forgan Smith. What a name, hey?
What a name. Mr. Forgan married Mrs. Smith many whiles ago.
It's very British.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's Welsh, apparently.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's even worse.
Oh, I know,
Funny old
right?
lot. And Trevor Block, our personal trainer. Now, you've both been raising amazing points for us on ways that we can improve our health as we get a bit older, but there's got to be a lot of crossover between the exercise and the doctoring.
Yep,
And in the break there, we were talking about obesity and how endemic that is in the community. And Dr. George said he could talk a little bit about that as well.
I had my own experience. I had a lap band for 8 years, but needed to get it removed because it was poorly placed. First thing I would say is you can be heavier and healthy. It is actually possible. So there's that. And we stigmatize people for being heavier. And I think
Absolutely.
you can still participate and be active in life. But I think a lot of people are feeling psychological forces upon them that they need to be thin, and they're starting to look at, oh, should I get an operation? Or should I get those injections that people keep on talking about? Are they an option for me? And certainly I get hit with a lot of people wanting to get the weight loss injections.
All right, so we can talk about what the benefits of that, we hear that, but what do you see are the risks or the downsides of that?
Well, the way that the drug works is that it delays the emptying of the stomach. So if you take drugs that need to go through your stomach quickly, i.e. PrEP on demand, then the drug won't be there and it won't be protective. So there's that. And if you don't learn new skills of eating, so you have to eat less and you have to eat solid food. If you drink liquids, just like with a lap band, the medications will not do anything.
Right.
They won't stop the calories from coming in. That's all it does. But it also works on the addiction center of the brain, and a lot of people get quite marked depression or anhedonia, where they're just sort of like meh about everything.
Wow.
And, people who are really into their fitness suddenly are like, I don't have to bother with that anymore because I've got this injection.
Have you noticed that, Trevor?
Yeah, not only that, but they think that's the only thing they need to do.
Right.
And my concern, I guess, with all the benefits that have been outlaid before, and to your point, George, the ingestion of these drugs should not be without doing some kind of strength training to keep your body's weight up.
Will you lose muscle as well, I suppose?
I suppose inadvertently it doesn't directly attack the muscle tissue, but your body is going to be looking for sources of fuel. So once it burns through that fat, it's going to do that. But not only that, bone density can be a concern long term. We don't really have a lot of longitudinal studies on this, on the use of these drugs yet. But from my point of view, as you taking the load off your body by losing all this weight, you are then basically giving your bones a reason to kind of
Your bones aren't
to
carry
reduce.
enough.
Exactly.
Okay.
And bones need a force against them to work and to build.
Wow.
So if you don't have a force greater than yourself, like working with weights and those sorts of things to push against, your bones have no reason to change. They have a reason to retract.
And
to put it simplistically.
And just wanted to ask you, Trevor, when you get used to a certain level of, people say, you do 10,000 steps. Okay, so if you do 10,000 steps comfortably, that's not good enough. You've got to increase it, don't you? You've got to push
Absolutely.
beyond what
You do. You always
Yep.
have to look for ways to progress, even if it's small progressions.
Yep.
Progressions are necessary.
Yep.
And yes, the 10,000 steps is wonderful. We all need to move, and the body's designed to move. It's not supposed to be sedentary. And so, doing 10,000 steps is a wonderful gauge of that. But, it shouldn't be without doing some kind of resistance training as well. You've got to build the muscle. The more muscle you can carry with you, and I'm not saying we all have to be Hulks or She-Hulks, but the more muscle you carry through with you into your early mid-60s, the better chance you have of strength, ability to move around, and to have a healthy life that's metabolically active.
And you're less likely to fall.
Yes.
Or if you do fall, you're going to bounce. And,
Like
Well,
that.
there's that, yes.
We
Well,
don't
I
want
mean-
you to break a hip. Having a fall and a bit of a whoopsie bruise is a very different situation. But when you break a hip, then suddenly you need a stick. Or if you've already got a stick, then the next step is going to be a walker or a really walker.
you.
So we've got to, let's keep people moving, keep them agile, keep them flexible. Like I've got a fused neck, so I struggle walking downstairs with laundry. Here I am at 53 and I'm starting to wonder, I don't know, this house has got a lot of steps in it. I'm already starting to preemptively think failure, and thankfully and that's the thing, if you've got insurance, did you know that their insurance companies will contribute towards gym memberships and even physical training as well?
Because it's going to bring down, they're not going to be paying out so much later.
Exactly.
Yeah, private health cover.
I mean, not enough of them are doing that. And we had a big retraction in that some years ago when the insurance sort of coverages changed.
Right.
But I see that starting to be on the rise again, which is music to my ears.
We're not on a commercial radio station, but there is a company that you could talk with your doctor about that will organise hip prevention, hip and spine fracture prevention programs that will be covered 100% under
Wow.
your insurance, which is amazing.
That's wonderful.
That is amazing. I was worried that I would find this talk intimidating. And part of it is because you're going, I better get my act together. I better, But actually it is inspiring. You're not sticking the carrot so far ahead of us, and also what you're saying, you can progress. So if you're starting now and you haven't been doing much, but you don't have to do that much to start seeing
No,
improvement.
and that's the thing. You can start simple. You don't have to all of a sudden be a gym bro tomorrow. You can make tiny little progressions, and if you're starting from scratch, that doesn't matter. You will still build muscle. You can still build muscle in your 60s and 70s. It becomes a bit more of an uphill slope, but it's not to say that it's ever too late.
Great.
There was an article this week about Richard, aka Grandpa Acid, who used to be hitting. I used to
I
see.
still see him around Carnegie.
Is
I
this
know,
the
right?
I still
famous
see him
grandpa?
around.
I remember
Yes,
I
he
remember
is.
him.
I saw him. I
podiums.
saw him last week. He was in the Spotlight Centre at Carnegie.
Less
Fantastic.
I'm sure he was getting disco-friendly fabrics, but the stuff that he could do with the tambourine, and he would have
Yes.
had to have been in his 60s when I would see him at Three Faces. So
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm like,
He's
antique
still
old.
moving around.
If we can
Bless him.
find him, we're going to have him on this show.
Yeah.
Get
We will,
him
yeah.
on. Yes, Richard's amazing.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that. And thank you, guys. This has been an incredible show. I'm almost a bit sad that this is our second show because it's going to be hard to top this going forward.
Oh, we're going to top it next week.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
we're going to take it top it next week.
Trevor, you are going to be coming in and giving us
Absolutely.
some actual practical
Yep.
tips and exercises to do. But what are we doing next week?
Well,
sir?
next week we are having a special on ageism.
It sounds fun,
Yes.
doesn't it?
So we're having Joy CEO Paul Scott Williams is coming in.
We all bow our little head.
He
when
will
we
bow
say
a little
that.
head, so we're going to give the boss a bit of airtime. And the fabulous Joss.
Yes.
Joss.
Bishop.
Activists.
But
So that
Bishop,
will be
that's
good.
right. Oh, God,
Yeah.
I forgot.
That's nothing to do with age, though.
No, nothing to do with age, more to do with
Substances that may have been ingested many years
Bifocals.
ago.
many years ago.
Bifocal use.
Yes. What's that quote from the Star Trek
Dear.
movie? Too much LDS in the 60s.
I wouldn't have it any other way, though.
No.
People said it opens a door, and it is an interesting door to open.
Well, it's George, it's a whole discussion on psychedelics and the effect on mental health and the discoveries that are being made now, which people have known for centuries. but-
Mushrooms also.
Yeah, yep. But anyway,
It's not just for fun.
we don't have time to talk about that
Thank
now.
goodness we don't wanna get in trouble. Ben,
It
notes
is.
coming up.
We'll be back next week, same time, same channel.
Can't wait.
We can't wait. Going out with a bit of Irene Cara, which might be cut short, but that's okay.
Thanks for listening to another Joy podcast brought to you by Australia's LGBTQIA+ community media organisation, Joy. Help keep Joy on air. Head to joy.org.au. Joy, a diverse sound for a diverse community.